Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do a cheeky little Q&A. I've asked friends and subscribers on most of my social medias to ask me questions that they would like me to answer, and let's get straight to it. So my first question is, what is my favourite product from Lush? It's a very difficult one because I do like quite a lot of them, but at the moment I would have to say Ultra Bland. As I've said before, it's the one skincare product that if I was stuck on a desert island and could only take one Lush product with me, it would be Ultra Bland. It's a waxy sort of facial cleanser. You don't need water, you literally only need tissues or cotton wool buds, and you just sort of smooth it onto your face. And what's great about it is as well is because you've got honey and things like that in there, it's antiseptic. You've got the rose, which is very calming, and you've got the wax, which makes the base, and it's also incredibly moisturising. So often I find I don't need to moisturise after I've used Ultra Bland. So it's a great all-rounder product. So I would have to say it's Ultra Bland. Number 2, which YouTubers do you watch? I watch quite a few. My YouTubing watching habits are very varied. I actually watch people like Tom Scar quite a lot. I adore him. He was one of the first YouTubers I actually subscribed to when I first started to watch YouTuber as a younger viewer. I sort of watched his Ed's World and I watched Asdif, and then from there started to watch more of his sketches, and I also really love his Last Week series, which my Day in the Life series I like to think is inspired by the Last Week series in the way that I film it, so you might be able to see some of those references there and how random Day in the Life is. Who else do I watch? I've been watching Just Jodes, Fleur de Force, Gabriella I've been watching as well. So I actually prefer, when it comes to sort of beauty vloggers, like I don't necessarily like watching YouTubers that are really blown out, like really popular. So I'm not a Zoella fan. I was initially, but I found her very boring very quickly, so I stopped watching her quite quickly. Yeah, so I tend to prefer, when it comes to sort of more my genre of filming, I prefer smaller YouTubers. I think they need a lot more love and a lot more support. Question 3, what am I studying at university? Hang on, we need to clear something up here. I don't actually go to university anymore. I left this summer just gone. I now work full-time, or well, as full-time as agency work can be. But no, I studied creative writing whilst I was studying at Spa, but I unfortunately, due to my mental health, wasn't able to complete the degree. So yeah. I'll cover that sort of thing more in a much more in-depth video as time goes on. Okay, number 4. In the UK, do you worry about hiding being a pagan in the workplace, like in the US? Is it more accepted, whereas here a lot of supervisors look for any excuse to fire you as someone of the alternative faiths? Actually, in the UK we have the Discrimination Act, where it is actually illegal to discriminate an employee based on their race, on their gender, their faith, their creed, and their ability and sexuality. So I've never had a problem. I mean, I've had funny looks when I've asked to have Halloween or Samhain off, or I've mentioned that I won't wear certain things or I won't do certain things because of my faith, and people have looked at me a bit funny, but they've never outwardly discriminated me for it. They might have whispered behind my back or thought I was a little bit weird, but I've never had any of those sorts of problems. I think I'm very lucky in the UK that because we realise we're such a liberal and diverse society, that if you have an alternative faith, that's okay and it's celebrated, which is pretty cool. We even have in the UK, we've got the UK Pagan Police Federation as well. So pagan police officers will work on Christmas Day because it's not such a big deal for them and stuff like that, and everyone works together and it's lovely. Number 5, when are you coming back to the Mary Rose Museum? A very good friend of mine, Simon, asked me this question on Twitter. So Simon, here's your shout out. He is the digital marketing guy and he basically looks after all the social medias and he is awesome. I worked with him as a volunteer guide in the summer of 2013 whilst I was still living in my hometown of Portsmouth. And I occasionally go back to visit. So I guess my answer to this question will be, if I can do a vlog and I can do a day in the life video, then I will come back. If I can hopefully get enough followers and subscribers, I will return and I will do a day in the life at the Mary Rose fairly soon, as long as I can afford the ticket to get down there. What made me love Hamilton? I guess it's when it's like the whole idea of this person who didn't have his biological family behind him. His mother died, his father left him, and he basically had to sort of forge a life for himself. And I guess I really related to that because I grew up in foster care. I kind of had to sort of choose my own family and make my own way in life. I related to the protagonist of the show really, really well, and I also share his sort of ideology about leaving a mark behind on the world and making the world a better place, and also his temper and his passions. And it's basically because he is a writer like myself, as I looked deeper and deeper and deeper, and I saw kind of, it sounds really sad, but parallels between his life and mine, especially in the musical storyline, that I grew to love the show even more. It also helped me when last summer, when I dropped out of uni, I was in a really dark place, and it was the Hamilton soundtrack that got me through, and thinking that I've got a ticket for the show now, I have to stick around for this. So I just have to be in the room where it happens. And I am so grateful to the show for that. So yeah, that's why I love Hamilton. Number 7, how do you handle having a job whilst being mentally ill? It's not easy. I'm the type of person that will force myself to go to work even when I'm feeling absolutely dead inside. My way of dealing with it is I'll go to work and I'll go through the motions, I will work my hardest, and then I go home and I decompress. So I will shut myself in my room, I will take a few deep breaths, I will get out of my work clothes, I will put some music on that makes me happy, and yeah, just sort of take stock of my day and be like, okay, how do I feel now? Do I feel good? Do I feel bad? If so, how can I either continue to feel good, or how do I self-care to make myself feel better? I also like to think, oh, I've at least 2 good things that happened in my work day and 1 thing that could have gone better, but at the same time I did well in dealing with it. So yeah, I guess it's how I deal with it. I just take stock and I just take each day as it comes. So what are my favourite memories from uni? Okay, I've got quite a few. I could be here all day. Some of my favourite memories involve, in my first year, my kitchen group, we all went to Yo Sushi's on the Blue Mondays. It's what really sparked my love of sushi, actually. Because on a Blue Monday, all the plates are like £2.80 all day, so we'd sit there like after our classes and we'd catch up and we'd eat sushi and we'd laugh and we'd sort of just be normal for a bit, which was really nice. My first summer ball was absolutely amazing as well, just going on the fairground rides and running around and just having a laugh, really. me and a friend did a museum crawl in Bath, so we went to visit all the museums in Bath in one day. That was really, really fun as well. And I guess meeting Libby and Sarah is one of my very fondest memories, my two dearest friends that I still have a lot of contact with. Obviously you've met Libby in quite a few of my videos, especially in my Day in the Life series and my best friend tag. But yeah, I think just meeting amazing people and learning who I was at the same time, those are some pretty rad memories. How do you deal with liking someone that doesn't like you back? Initially, I didn't deal with this very well at all. So towards the end of my first year, I met this guy. Let's call him L for sake of anonymity. He was part of the Dungeons and Dragons Society that I was a part of. We played Cards Against Humanity a lot, and we just sort of all hung out in the same sort of social group. And for some reason, I started to fancy the pants off of him. Like, I think I fell in love with him. I was in a really bad relationship at the time. I was struggling to deal with being 19 years of age and engaged to be married. You know, it was pretty deep stuff that I was dealing with. And one thing kind of led to another, and we ended up being in a compromised position together. Even though he wasn't into me as I was into him, he didn't see me as girlfriend material. He actually said this to me once, and that broke me, absolutely broke me. And then he started to date my then best friend, which sucked. So what I ended up doing one day, this is very linked to my my pagan beliefs as well. I went outside and I took a white candle with me, a piece of paper and a pen, and I just wrote Al a letter saying exactly how I felt, how he made me feel, both good and bad. And then I sort of read the letter out loud into the air. I was on my own by the lake on campus, and I burnt the letter and let the ashes fly into the wind as I cried, and it felt so cathartic. And from that point on, my feelings sort of started to dwindle down, and then I was lucky enough a couple of months later to meet Matt. So yeah, so I guess it's just sort of accepting that you have these feelings and this person does not, and then finding a way of acknowledging it and giving yourself a point on which to move forward. I definitely recommend the letter burning. I found that incredibly cathartic. And the final question, what made me love the pin-up style? I guess I was always into it, even as a little girl. I used to see pictures of Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn and Grace Kelly, and I thought these women were incredibly elegant and completely unlike what I was seeing on the television and in magazines and stuff like that. I didn't want to be like all the other girls. I wanted to be like myself, and as soon as I put red lipstick on for the first time, age 16, and when I was 19 and I set my hair for the very first time, and when I bought my first pin-up dress, it just felt right, and it felt like me, and it didn't feel strange. I mean, yeah, I had to get used to some of the attention as I was walking down the street because I was dressed completely differently. I had to sort of make mistakes and have times when my hair doesn't work as well as it should or whatever. But it doesn't mean that I am more or less of a pin-up. And of course, I don't do pin-up every day. It's actually very exhausting to do because so much goes into it. But when I do it, it makes me feel absolutely amazing, and that's why I love it so much. So that concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. If you do have any more questions for me for a future video, please put them in the comments below. Yeah, please follow me on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Tumblr, where you'll see exclusive content that you won't always see here on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you later. Bye!